All right, we're gonna get started. So it's 10:03. Thank you all for being here. We really appreciate it. We're excited to have this first education session for the summer. Our next one is September. So make sure to check out the PPACW website for that. But I'm actually going to introduce Dan Pike. He is on our fabulous board. He's a board director with us, and he is the committee chair for education for PPACW. And he actually reached out to our education guys today. So I'm going to hand it over to Dan, and he will go ahead and introduce Ben and Gabe.
Hey everyone, I'm Dan. Thank you, Stacy. We have our wonderful friends from Sage here. Ben Haynes is our corporate program manager, and Gabe Gotai is the senior marketing coordinator. And we're going to learn about LinkedIn 101 for small business and maybe for general LinkedIn tips, I think. And I'm really excited to hear about it and appreciate you guys helping teach us all a little bit here.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We're looking forward to this time. I'm here for the support. I saw Gabe do this presentation a little earlier this year, and he did a fantastic job. There's a lot of great information in there, so looking forward to being able to share that with you guys this morning, I guess. So thank you.
Well, thanks for that, Ben. Ben's the people person, so he's here for after I'm done rambling. We can, if y'all got questions, you want to have any discussions about what we talk about, we'll be here for that. So let me go ahead and I'll share my screen and we'll get started here. All right. Well, hello everyone. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Stacy. Like they said, my name is Gabe Gotai, Senior Marketing Coordinator here at Sage. Ben Haynes, our Corporate Program Manager. Excited to be with you here for the Learn a Latte. Hope you all have your coffee. And if you don't worry. Social media strategies for B2B businesses will wake you up like nothing else on a Thursday morning. So that's going to be a good time. So yeah, we're going to be talking about some of the insights and philosophies behind social media marketing, specifically brand-focused marketing. And then we're going to talk more specifically about LinkedIn throughout the presentation. So contrary to what's kind of popular belief, brand-focused marketing is not something that's really reserved for the B2C businesses like McDonald's and Coke. B2B businesses like promotional products distributors, they can reap a lot of benefits and see long-term success by adjusting their marketing strategies to focus on making their brand name more memorable to existing and potential customers. So like I said, I'm going to start out talking about some of the foundational principles behind brand marketing, and then we'll switch over to more practical and actionable things you can actually do on LinkedIn. So let's talk about growing a brand, right? Brand equity, it's the value of your brand based on customer perception. It's a value that you got to build over time, kind of a brick by brick thing, so that you can have both short-term sales activations and also long-term growth. Building brand awareness, it creates a familiar face with your potential customers. And then that familiarity, it breeds the trust, which makes them more likely to consider your brand when purchasing or recommending you to others. Strong brand equity goes beyond just sales. It allows you to charge more. People are willing to pay a premium for trustworthy brands. It helps you attract top talent. Employees, are drawn to go work for really well-established companies. And you can kind of divide this whole brand equity idea into two categories here: mental availability and physical availability. Physical availability, that boils down to just how physically accessible it is for your customers, to find and receive and purchase your products. Like, Sage is a technology company, so we help people with a lot of the physical accessibility. We give them the tools to maximize their physical availability. But what a lot of small businesses can really struggle for is the mental availability side of things. It's a competitive world in promotional products, and just having a great selection is not enough. You have to be able to be a brand that pops into potential buyers' minds when they're considering branded merchandise. So that's where this concept comes into play. Mental availability can kind of be translated as your brand's share of mind in the marketplace. And you can kind of imagine it on a spectrum. So on one end, buyers don't recognize your brand name at all. And at the other end, they're thinking about you as soon as they're even thinking about promotional products. And we'll kind of break that into three tiers. So tier one is going to be awareness. So at this initial stage, potential buyers might recognize your name if somebody else says it to them. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but it is really a crucial first step just to get here. And when you're getting started, this is where you're going to be doing the most basic social media, just using engaging posts and sharing blog articles with the main focus on just getting your name out there among everybody in that big social ecosystem. The next tier, called salience, it's a middle tier, but it's a really significant leap forward. At this point, potential buyers, they're more likely to think of you completely independently when considering making a promotional products purchase. They've heard of you before, and once they start thinking about it, then your name will come to mind. And so this is getting here, and once you are here is where content marketing really shines. You know, in your social strategies, you want to be creating really valuable and informative content that addresses the challenges of the businesses that you're targeting and kind of puts you as a trusted resource, becoming an authority. And then the top tier, call it fame. And this is, you know, it's automatic. Sometimes they think of you before they think of promotional products, right? But you want to be the point where when they're thinking promotional products, you're the brand that comes to mind. And getting here, this requires a long-term, sustained, and multifaceted approach to your marketing. You want to do things like build strong partnerships with industry influencers, you know, sponsoring relevant events, consistently delivering customer service. All of these things tie into maintaining. And so let's take a look at like the practical value of this whole mental availability idea. Just seems simple, but say you've got two companies, A and B, that are offering the same exact products. If there's a potential buyer and both of those brands fall into tier one of mental availability, they're going to have to spend some time researching each of these companies further to decide who they're going to want to go with. But if brand A is even just as far as tier two in their minds, it's a way more straightforward decision. It's the default choice. It could even be a little more expensive, but it's saving the buyer time and effort because they know they can trust this company because of their reputation and their association with their brand. It allows you to capture a larger share of the market and positions you for long-term sustained success. And again, it takes time, it takes a lot of consistent effort. This isn't something you can change your logos and suddenly tomorrow you're the most recognizable brand in the world. You have to consistently demonstrate your expertise and build that trust. Before we move on to some of the more specific things, let's just talk about distinctive branding elements, because the visual element is important. Your distinctive assets, these are going to be things like your logos, the colors associated with your brand, your fonts, shapes and symbols that you use, mascots, characters, slogans. These are all building blocks of your brands. They are things that signal your brand to consumers at a very basic psychological level. You know, there was a study, and it's kind of shocking, but it found that a lot of viewers, if they were watching an ad for a brand they hadn't seen before, only 50% of viewers could actually identify that brand at the end of an ad. Versus people that have really put time into developing these distinctive visual brandings. Think about like Coca-Cola with the bottle and the colors, or the McDonald's arches, or like the green Garnier products, like all of these things. It wasn't random that they developed these assets. These are things that they intentionally invested a lot of time into to create automatic links visually. The best thing that's found is, you know, to hire great designers, put these things together, and then use all of these elements consistently throughout all your branding with occasional refreshment. So it stays familiar, but then it also changes just enough to keep people's attention. All right, so let's move into some of the actual kind of research and numbers behind this brand marketing stuff. So imagine that in the market, and the market is being anybody that's going to see your social media posts, anybody that's in that world. Only 5% of the people looking at what you're putting out there are actively looking to purchase your product at the time that they see it. That's kind of the insight behind the 95-5 rule. This is a concept introduced by Professor John Dawes from the Ehrenberg Voss Institute for Marketing Sciences. It seems a little counterintuitive and it challenges some traditional marketing approaches, but it does underscore kind of the critical role of brand building and long-term success. So it proposes that 95% of people actually looking at marketing materials are out of market at the moment. They are not at that time looking to make a purchase, but they will become future buyers at some point that will enter the market, just not today. And Professor Dawes sheds light on the power of this in this context. He says that Advertising works by building and refreshing memory structures in the minds of buyers who may not purchase for several years. So in simpler terms, your advertising and social media marketing isn't solely about triggering immediate sales. It's about planting a seed in the minds of potential customers who aren't actively considering that purchase. That seed, in this case, takes the form of brand awareness and positive association. By consistently staying visible and delivering targeted, engaging messages, you're building a foundation of familiarity and trust. And that's where the magic happens, because when those out-of-market buyers eventually enter the market, now your brand is that known entity. It's the familiar name that they recognize, the brand that they have positive associations with from what they've encountered already. Gives you a significant competitive advantage over your competitors who haven't prioritized building that mental availability. And the benefits extend beyond just the immediate sales figures. It's about creating lasting customer awareness, ensuring your brand is top of mind for not only those future buyers, but now the repeat buyers from the people who you've already successfully converted. By embracing this rule, you're not just going after short-term success, you're going after long-term success. Now, it's a powerful theory, but it can be a little misleading, because I'm not suggesting, and neither is the rule suggesting, that you put 95% of your advertising efforts into just building up like your brand awareness. The true power kind of lies in recognizing the vital roles that both brand and demand play in achieving success. It's a dynamic feedback loop. Building the strong awareness and positive associations, building strong brand awareness creates these positive associations with your products and services. That way, potential customers are more receptive to your demand-driven offerings later on. And the way you balance these kinds of messages in your marketing, a lot of people suggest going with a 60-40 split to start. That comes from a study by the Institute of Practitioners in Advertising. And of course, that's just a starting point. You really need to consider your customers, your market, why specifically, the sales cycle of your market, determine if you need to have a little bit more demand in there. Because if you only focus on one or the other, like say you're just focusing on demand and all you're doing is putting out posts about, hey, this is what I have for sale and this is how much it costs, or here's a special deal to buy right now, all those demand-driven things, if that's all you have, people are not going to think of you as a brand. They're just going to think of you as somebody selling something, yelling at them at the side of the street. But if you put all of your effort into brand, you might end up having the most recognizable brand ever. But if you don't have those demand-driven things mixed in there, when people are looking to buy, they're not going to have a good reason in the moment. So you need to find the best mixture of the two for you that creates the perfect long-term symbiosis. So let's now start talking about LinkedIn in particular and why it's a great place to execute successful social media strategies. While there are exceptions, most promotional products distributors or similar people in this industry are B2B companies. And there are many social media platforms that can be important channels for your business's marketing strategies, but LinkedIn is particularly valuable for B2B because of the size of its user base and the intentions of that particular user base. Unlike other platforms, LinkedIn, it's a professional network. It's offering a unique environment for businesses. People go there to engage with professional development. They want to learn about industry trends and connect with potential business partners and to discover solutions that are going to benefit their businesses. That's not something you really get on Facebook or Instagram. There is a place for advertising your business on those platforms, but the people going there are looking for more lifestyle or entertainment focused content. But this professional development focus of users on LinkedIn is what really makes it a prime and audience that's receptive to B2B focused content and messaging. And it's not a small user base. LinkedIn is projected to have more than 200 million users in the United States alone by the end of this year. And worldwide, it had 900 million users by the end of last year. So how do you get in front of as many of these businesses as possible? And it's going to be through a combination of organic social media posting and paid social media advertising. And I'm going to cover some basic strategies for both of these categories here. Before I go on into the paid advertising, I just kind of want to disclaim that a lot of the research for this presentation came from the B2B Institute, which is sponsored by LinkedIn. And there's some really great insights in there. I highly recommend checking it out. But even though I'm not getting paid by LinkedIn, they did pay for the study. So just saying that. All right, so we'll start with organic posting. While social media organically, it's a lot cheaper than paid advertising, it's not really fair to say that it's going to be free, because the amount of work that goes into developing and committing to and executing a successful organic campaign, it requires talented people on your staff who understand the ins and outs of these changing platforms. And there's a lot of ways, even on just one platform like LinkedIn, to share your message. So the first tip is to focus on what we're going to call the high attention formats. So these are going to be things that aren't just a text post on your wall. We're talking about videos, stories, articles, things that really look different on the feed. Make dynamic use of these different kinds of formats, and you'll create a more neurologically rich relationship between your brand and your followers. They also, these many different formats force you to take whatever message you're trying to convey and convey it in several different ways, which is going to force you to adapt. And really, it's going to reveal to you more effective ways to communicate that message and help you create higher quality content overall. Speaking of high quality, you want to make sure that all of the images and videos and graphics that you're posting, no matter what the format, is of the highest visual quality possible. Because it does not take a skilled graphic designer to spot low resolution imagery on social media. Even non-tech savvy users, they're going to register subconsciously if something looks a little worse than everything else that surrounds it, and that is going to push people away from your brand. When you're uploading kind of the long-term things onto LinkedIn, like your banner or your profile image, LinkedIn will tell you right there, like the optimal dimensions for that image. Just follow those, give those instructions to your designers. If you're doing this yourself, some just general guidelines for when you're posting. Images, if it's a square image, you want it to be at least 1080 by 1080 and 19 by 1080 for rectangular images, just the standard resolution of an HD TV. Same for videos, you want 1920 by 1080, or if you're doing the vertical videos, 1080 by 1920. Just remember that you're doing that at least, and it's going to look good on everybody's phones. Well-produced, high-quality visual content that engages with users is likely to increase your reach to all these businesses that are on LinkedIn, not just through the psychology of it, but LinkedIn actually values the quality of the uploads in its algorithm. So beyond just creating great content, you need to prioritize a strategy that encourages yourself to interact with users and encourages those users to interact with you. So post things that have like open-ended questions and spark discussions. Run contests and giveaways, things that incentivize participation and generate excitement. But then beyond that, go and respond to those questions and those comments promptly. Don't ever let a relevant comment go unresponded to. Something that I think a lot of businesses forget when they're running social media, especially smaller businesses that are just kind of getting started on these strategies, is that while you are operating as a business and not an individual, the people receiving your content are individuals, and you need to communicate with them like you are an individual talking to someone, not like you're a big company looking down at all the little masses of your social media. You need to really be there with them and have that two-way street. That's going to go a long way in building that brand recognition. And finally, not finally, but next for organic posting is tracking your page insights. So LinkedIn, all the social media platforms, but LinkedIn also offers really valuable analytic tools to help you understand how your content is performing. Regularly reviewing your page insights allows you to see what type of content resonates most with your audience, which can guide your content creation strategy in the future. It allows you to track things like impressions, clicks, reactions, comments, reposts. It has a custom metric for just an overall engagement rate. Keep track of these things, set KPIs based on what you're trying to do, and see how your content is doing and hitting those goals, and see if you need to adjust the content or if you're going after the wrong goals. Now, the content. You want to become a resource. You want people to come back to your feed, and users on LinkedIn are there to learn how to grow their business. So You want to write articles, produce videos, and share from other respected sources that are focusing on industry insights, solutions to common pain points, and thought leadership pieces that resonate with your target audience. By providing value, you establish yourself and your business as that trusted authority to attract potential customers. So here's some tips behind your organic content. One is creating and sharing the relevant content. Two, don't be a one-hit wonder. Post steadily and consistently. It's key to staying visible and engaging with your audience. Come up with a content plan and topics in advance so that you can aim to post at least 2 to 3 times a week to keep and build momentum. Don't take it too far. I would say posting multiple times a day is probably going to oversaturate your followers' feeds and make them a little sick of you. And that consistency, by the way, it applies to engagement. It's not just about posting consistently. It's about consistently interacting with those posts and responding to the people that are interacting with those posts. And next, have a mix of content. Not just on LinkedIn, but all social media. It's just like a sea of content now that we're all just floating through. And how do you stand out? Kind of a fun tip for when you're creating your social media plan is to use this thing we're going to call the 4-1-1 rule. And this is just a basic and adjustable outline on how to have a mix of content in your plan. So 4 pieces of shared content. This is the most of the pieces you're going to share, and it's the easiest because you don't even got to make it. You just need to share things like industry insights, tag key influencers or publications that are getting across an important message in your industry. If your clients are sharing things that are even remotely related to stuff that you've done, share that. Showcase the positive impact that your company has on its clients. Elevate your brand by sharing information from thought leaders and external experts. This positions you as that thought leader on the back of this content that other people have put a lot of work into creating. Don't underestimate the power of visuals either, because there's a lot of people that are constantly sharing really cool infographics and visual data. That stuff is incredibly stimulating to people when they see it on their feeds. Share it. Next is going to be a piece of marketing content. So this is back to that demand versus brand driven thing. This marketing content is where you're really going to focus on, here's my products, here's the pain points my company solves, here's how my products or my services help you strategically, and that's the more demand-driven piece. And then finally, a piece of original content. This can also be demand-driven depending on where you're at in that balance and your strategy, or it can be totally creative to elevate your brand. It can be behind the scenes videos of your office space or your manufacturing facilities or your shipping warehouses, or it can be thought pieces and blogs and articles that you've put together with your internal team. So this little rule set creates 6 pieces of content for you. This is a pretty easy way to schedule a week or 2 at a time to keep consistently posting and then also have a solid mix of content. So let's take a look at some of the more successful B2B LinkedIn pages in the promotional products industry specifically. Every year, PPAI releases their Online 18. It's a ranking of the top social media performers in the industry. Of the 18 companies on their list in 2024, half of them, LinkedIn was their biggest platform where they had their most followers. So I'm going to take a look at just a handful of those and talk a little bit about why PPAI chose these companies for their list. So first is Showdown Displays. Now, when you talk about distinctive brand assets, it can be hard to ignore Showdown Displays, especially if you've ever been to the expo and you see their dancing ninja Dash running around and dancing around on the show floor. They also, on social, they do a really great job of publishing a mix of content. They've got blog articles linking to their website. They've got great graphics. They're showcasing things from events. They've got videos. They've got marketing pieces. Like I said, this is a great example of how to showcase a variety of post styles on your page. Halo was also on that list. They're one of the more recognizable distributor groups in the industry, partially because of their frequent presence at trade shows, and they are constantly posting and sharing their times at these shows to help re-solidify the connections that they've made there. And they've also got a great mix of content here. We've got product photos, we've got relevant holidays. Again, all about keeping a good mix. Walker Clay, social media, it really thrives on visuals, and they have really great visual storytelling on their page. It's really high quality images, soft backgrounds, really great filtering, really great, just like the way the props are laid out. This looks above and beyond what you see on a lot of social media pages, and it makes them stand out. HPG is a social media content. It delves deeper than just the promo products and their products. It's about the industry, what sparks people to search for promotional products, items, what inspires promo professionals to dedicate their careers to this field. This is the kind of thing they're going after in their content strategy, is helping talk about and lead the thought discussion. Sage it's a little technology company. Some of you guys might have heard of it. I don't know. But when we're at Sage, we try to focus on what matters to our customers. So we're providing insights into the industry. We share announcements about the software, new tools, lots of company culture kinds of things. We have lots of links to educational resources, webinars and guides we put together, little hack videos. And then we also use our social media page to leverage some of our other content marketing strategy, like our Sage blog, and again, those webinars and other guides that we create. So that was just kind of a brief glimpse at some of the people that were on that list, just to give you a little bit of a visual understanding of some of the organic strategies that we talked about. Let's switch back over to my PowerPoint. And before we get into discussions and questions, let's talk a bit about the paid advertising side of things. So for B2B companies, reaching the right decision makers, it can be a big challenge. This is where LinkedIn Ads steps in. It offers a targeted and powerful way to connect with your specific and ideal audience. Unlike other social media platforms, LinkedIn's targeting allows you to get really specific on professional demographics. Like you can, to back it up, so I don't know if anybody has a lot of experience with Google advertising or Meta advertising, which is Facebook and Instagram, but they all have some pretty amazing and scary targeting tools. You'd be surprised just how detailed you can get. But something that LinkedIn really offers with their targeting is, like I said, these professional demographics. If you want to go after specific job titles, specific industries, specific company sizes, when you're telling the ad machine who to show your ads to, LinkedIn is perfect for that. And so LinkedIn might have a slightly higher, say, cost per click on their advertising, but it's also a much higher quality of leads and potential return on investment for B2B businesses. You got to just strategically craft some campaigns to hit that right audience and grow. So talk about first the easiest way to get started and dip your toes into the paid advertising side of things is boosting organic content. So some of the other ads we're going to talk about later, those are going to be ads that you have to create yourself. It's totally separate from whatever you post on your page. You design what the ad looks like, you go into the ad manager, and you set it all up and it runs and does its own thing. But this, boosting organic content, this is where you take content that you've already posted that's on your page and you pay to boost it. It then runs that content as an ad to leverage the existing success it already has and now show it to a bunch more people and even re-show it to some of the people who saw it before, which is something that's called impressions. How many times does somebody see the same ad? And so if it's re-showing it to them again, you want to hit around 2 to 3 impressions per person on an ad to really drive that point home. And you can do that, again, by just boosting content you've already made. It's really easy. It's already there. It's cost effective. You're not spending more effort with your creative team to create new ad material. And it's great for testing and learning, not just for your page strategy, but you can use your experiments in boosting organic content for your page strategy to see how you can improve your organic strategy. If certain content performs better when boosted, that might inform the kind of content you craft in your organic strategies moving forward. Next is optimizing ads for reach. So what do I mean by that? What are your goals when you're advertising on the platform? When you're in the LinkedIn Ad Manager and you're actually creating these things, it will ask you, what are your goals? What are you trying to do? And you can select things like engagement rates, click-through rates, lead generation. But if we're talking about brand building and getting your name out there and making you a recognizable name, you want to target reach. You want that ad to go to as many people as possible because, again, 95% of those people aren't looking to buy anyway, so you might as well get to as many of them as you can. So when they are ready to buy, they're thinking of you. The KPI on these should be reach. Finally, this was one of our suggestions for the organic material too: testing, measuring, and iterating. The B2B landscape on LinkedIn is dynamic, and success in paid advertising hinges on using a data-driven approach. So you can uncover hidden gems, use A/B testing to see which kind of ad copy or which kind of visuals or headlines or targeting parameters work best for you. Set a control, only test one of these variables at a time, but test 2 ads at the same time and see what performs better. Optimize your spend by closely measuring your metrics. Again, you're going for reach, but you will still see the other metrics like your click-through rates and your conversion rates and your cost per lead. Identify these elements to see how different styles of advertising, different messaging, different graphics is affecting each of these values. Sharpen your audience targeting over time. So start with the maximum reach, start hitting everybody, and then as you start to get data, record that data, measure it, and see where you want to go. And then you can start to refine those people that you're targeting and slowly narrow down that funnel so that you are eventually only targeting people that are likely to become your customers. And you can only get there by doing it. So you have to start wide, work, get your data, test it, and bring it in slowly. So again, these are just kind of general guides. This isn't like a walkthrough on how to navigate everything within LinkedIn, but these have just been some kind of strategies to consider in your marketing program. So that's kind of all I had for the presentation. Ben, I don't know, do you have any questions you wanted to field? Was there anything in the chat?
If there's questions, we're happy to kind of start a dialogue, have a conversation. Gabe, great job. As always, like I said, there's a lot of great information in there. Some of the things that kind of stick with me or jumped out at me on that was consistency. I know when social media, when people think about it, they're like, hey, I'm going to start that platform, or I'm going to start to market myself on there, and they do it once, and then they maybe do it twice, and then they just kind of run out of time. So it's trying to stay consistent and setting up a schedule for that, whether it's, like I said, once a week seems to be a good sweet spot for that. Being patient, not thinking that it's going to happen overnight. Not everything you post will go viral. So, but staying consistent and being in front of your customers will have rewards in the long run. A variety also, not just doing the same thing on rinse and repeat, doing a few different things, mixing it up from time to time are important. And then I really think educating your customers, talking to them, getting them to follow you on different social media platforms is very important as well. So as you start to post things and remain consistent on there, they'll start to see that. And it goes back to the 95-5 rule that you were talking about. Most people aren't in the buying mood right there on the spot, but you remaining in front of them on a regular basis is really going to condition them, and it's planting that seed to where they will circle back with you when the time's right on something that they do need. They're like, oh, we need that. Where do we go? I know exactly where to go based off, the work that you've been putting in all that time. So just my thoughts. Are there any questions that you guys might have?
Feel free to ask away. Everyone's really quiet.
Need an extra shot of espresso.
Right? It is 10:30.
Yeah.
All right,
If not,
I guess we don't have any questions. You guys must have covered everything amazingly.
yeah, well, again, we
it.
appreciate it. We appreciate the opportunity just to kind of give a little thought. There's a lot of things that the Sage platform does provide to help you with some of this content and trying to get on there. We've rolled out some new stuff to help generate images and whatnot. So you can, start with that. If you have websites with us, you can do that as well too. So reach out to your reps or reach out to us and we can help maybe point you in the right direction.
Thank you guys so much. That was
Absolutely.
super informative, and Gabe, so well done and well spoken. It was really informative for me.
Well, thank you. And thank you, Dan and Stacey, for having us out for this.
Anytime, anytime. And the next session we have for education is on Thursday, September 26th. And that'll be Ben. Lucky you.
All right. I think we're talking about driving traffic to your website, if I
Yeah,
remember right. Yep.
yeah.
So we have some tips and tricks on that. So
Yeah, so
for sure.
that will be a great one. Make sure to register for that one on our website at ppcw.org. And I think I'll just do a couple quick announcements since I have everybody of what is happening in our world. So the next session we have a virtual lunch and learn with Deborah Mann from Demanding Results. So any distributors on here, join that one. That's June 20th. At noon. So join us with your lunch virtually at your desk. And then June 27th, we have another virtual lunch and learn with Preferred Lines Marketing with Paula Coomer. So you don't want to miss that one. That one's also at noon. So join us with your lunch on that one. Then we have our fabulous golf outing. So that is July 22nd. Sage will be there. Ben will be there. I don't know, Gabe, do you come in for that too?
I think so, but
Okay. All right, Ben will be there, so you'll be able to see Ben in person. And they are an amazing sponsor for us for the golf outing. So thank you so much for that. Then ASI Chicago is the 23rd, 24th, well, the 24th and 25th. And distributors, if you've not registered, go to our website. There is a link that they provided for us for some discounted admission as well as a free lunch for distributors. So make sure to check that out if you have not registered yet for ASI Chicago. And then I think we go into August. So let's not rush things. Let's just get through June and July first, right? But there are a lot of other events on our event page on our website. So make sure to check that out. But we really appreciate you, Gabe and Ben, for being here with us and giving our members this fabulous information.
And
Absolutely.
one quick question was on chat
Oh, good. Good,
from
good, good.
Alexis. Will we send out the recording? I feel like the answer is yeah, we will.
Yep. Yep, I'm recording it right now, so I will send it out. We'll also put it on our website as well. And I think what I'll do is I'll send it out in the newsletter also so that you guys all have it.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate everyone joining.
Have a great day. We'll see you later. Thanks, Ben and Gabe. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
everyone. Bye.